What's up, guys? This is BJ Futrell, two-time All-American for the University of Illinois, and Wrestling with Faith for those of you guys that follow me on Twitter. And we're a couple minutes away from starting practice here in Champaign. I'm in a little bit different of a role, just coaching right now, trying to help my teammates achieve their goals and compete well at the Big Ten Championships coming up this weekend. And basically, for you guys that don't know, I got an injury that caused me to miss my senior year, and basically I'm just kind of go into details and all that happened in that situation, and then kind of my outlook and my goals going toward the future. So guess we'll take care of the elephant in the room to start out. Well, basically, I was 19-1 on the year. I had just set the all-time pin record here at Illinois, and I was having a pretty good year. I was still wasn't where I wanted to be, but I was making gains and progressing every day towards March, the NCAA Championships, which is the goal for that's where you want to compete the best for every NCAA wrestler. And ever since the Midlands tournament, I was having kind of a pain in my shoulder and in my scapula that it was bothering me. But you know, wrestlers are tough. We learn to push through certain things. You know, you're never going to feel 100% when you're out there on the mat, but there's certain things that you learn to push through. And so it was bothering me, but it was never anything that I thought would keep me out of competition. And so we wrestled Purdue January 11th, and the team won the duel, and I won. I think it was like 13-5 or something like that. And the next morning, Saturday morning, we had a lifting workout. So I was pumping iron, getting big, and toward the end of the workout, I noticed I didn't have any grip left in my hand, and I was doing dumbbell rolls, and I was using a light weight, probably like 35 pounds, and I could barely hold on to the weight. So I thought that was kind of weird. And right away, I told my trainer, and he thought it was something wrong with my neck. So we scheduled an appointment to see a doctor, and for whatever reason, I wasn't able to see a doctor until Wednesday afternoon. And I got an X-ray, I got an MRI, and it was a big weekend coming up because we were going to wrestle Nebraska and Minnesota that weekend. So the team was feeling good. We had a good week of practice. I had practice all that week, and Thursday morning, as I was packing my bags, the trainer called me and told me, BJ, you're not going to be able to wrestle this weekend. The doctor called me with your MRI results, and you're going to need to stay back and see a neck specialist because it's kind of serious. I was like, very funny. I'll see you on the bus. And he's like, no, I'm not joking. This is serious. He says something with your spinal cord and something with a disc in your neck, so you need to stay back and see a specialist, and then we'll go from there. And I was like, well, no, that's not an option. You know, this is a big weekend. The team needs me. These are big duels. And I was really looking forward to wrestling. So I said, let me sign whatever waiver I have to and still be able to wrestle. He said, okay, I'll call you back. And 5 minutes later, he called me back and said, well, there's no type of waiver that exists for my protection. The university doesn't allow that. So initially, I was really frustrated and really kind of upset with the situation. I didn't really know what was going on, and I wasn't able to travel with the team on Friday. So going into the appointment with the doctor, I'm like, this is all just some misunderstanding. He's going to clear me. I don't know what it was, but I'm going to be able to fly to Minnesota on Monday to be able to be back with the team for the duel against Minnesota. But that wasn't the case. I sat down at the doctor's office, and he basically told me I had a herniated disc that was bulging forward and indenting my spinal cord. So it was causing a deformity in my spinal cord. And it was a serious situation because he said I could wrestle and be fine, or I could wrestle and have a catastrophic accident where I bumped my head wrong, and the disc could move forward even more, and then I would be paralyzed and not be able to use my arms or legs again. And like a lot of people have herniated discs, but with this one, because it was affecting my spinal cord, it made it a lot different than most normal situations. So, it's something that kind of made me take a step back and really think I never thought anything like this could happen, especially in my senior year. So I got a second opinion in Chicago, and the guy pretty much said the same thing. So initially, as a diagnosis, he said I would be off the mat for 9 weeks, and then we can get another MRI and see if it's gotten better, and then go from there. But I told him, I kind of explained I didn't have that kind of timeline, explaining to him the process for qualifying for nationals, the Big Tens, and all that. So he said we could take an MRI in 6 weeks and then kind of go from there. So it was kind of disappointing where you're like, okay, well, where do you go now? Because he didn't leave us many options as to treatment. He said the only thing I could do for treatment was to not bump my head. So I would be off the mat for 6 weeks. I could still run and lift, but I would be off the mat. So still kind of frustrated, but at the same time, really thinking and looking at the situation, knowing that this is a tournament that I've trained for since I was 5 years old, I've basically visualized and dreamed about this moment every day, pretty much of my life, down to the smallest detail, to waking up the day before, going to the arena, the smell of the arena, seeing all the mats on the floor, all the way up until the finals match, putting the ankles band on and running on stage and wrestling in front of thousands of people. And so I knew it wasn't the time to put my head down and kind of pout about it. I had to just make it what it was of the situation, kind of go for it, especially because being a leader on the team, I knew I couldn't just feel sorry for myself and pout. The team was already kind of hurting a little bit because we just had lost our senior heavyweight, and so I knew this was the time. I knew God's plan was perfect. I know God is faithful. He didn't bring me this far to leave me, and everything's going to work out for the best. So the next day, Coach Mark Perry, he came in with 75 pages of alternate workouts that I could do, conditioning workouts, and these were the toughest workouts I've ever done in my life. Just full body, like mind, body, soul workouts, to where my legs, my arms, nothing ever felt as fatigued as it did when I was doing these workouts. So I was in the best shape of my life. That's 6 weeks of training, and in that time, my mind got tougher a lot from those workouts. And anybody that knows wrestling knows it's a 95% mental sport. So I was feeling good, even though I wasn't on the mat and I wasn't able to take shots. My mind was still focused on March, and my mind was still ready to go and ready to compete. So what seemed like took forever, that 6 weeks went by, and I got another MRI, and I'm like, okay, now this is it. This is my moment. This is going to be the greatest comeback story ever, even though the doctor told me in 22 years he's never seen something like I had get better in that short amount of time. So I go in, get the MRI, and I'm waiting for the results. And then the trainer calls me and tells me it hasn't changed at all. I was still, if I was to wrestle, I would still be putting myself at the same risk of being paralyzed as I was 6 weeks ago. And I didn't have any say in whether I wrestled or not. And probably one of the most frustrating things was that I didn't really even have any pain. I was feeling great. I was feeling pretty much at 100%. So that was probably one of the most frustrating parts of it. But then instead of being frustrated, I just thought about just God's grace and how good God is, and knowing that even in a situation like this, God could use it for good. And that even though I can't see the full picture right now, somehow, some way, everything's gonna turn out and work out for my good. Even though I don't really know what that's gonna look like down the road, because the will of God, if I was to use an analogy, somewhat works like Windex that you spray on like a mirror or like a window, and that before things become the most clear, things get the most blurry, and that's what kind of point I was at in my life. And I don't know whether tomorrow or 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, everything will come together and make sense. But I know, whether it makes me a better wrestler in the future, a better husband, father, a better coach, a better mentor, somehow, some way, God's going to use it for his good. Because there's a big difference. And even though it was a tough situation, I still probably had the most joy in my heart than I had ever had at any point in my life, because there's a big difference between happiness and joy. Because joy or happiness is based on happenings, but joy is based on Jesus and having a relationship with him. And I wouldn't trade my relationship with Jesus for 4 national titles, because that's brought the most joy and the most peace in my life than any victory I've ever won on a wrestling mat. And it's easy to be a Christian when things are going well and things are going good, but it's tough to be a Christian when things are not going your way, and and you don't really know how things are going to work out. And you're in those tough, critical moments. But really, one of the verses that stuck out most in my mind was Philippians 4:13, and you hear it a lot, especially in sporting events. After somebody's done something great in sports, won a championship, hit a game-winning shot or something like that. But most of the time, it's used out of context. It's probably one of the most misused verses in the Bible, in that when people use it after they hit that game-winning shot or win that championship, they're using it in a sense to where it says, because I have a relationship with Christ, I have the power to accomplish that. Most of you know what verse I'm talking about, but it says, "For I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." But if you were to read the verse in context, it says, "I do not say this out of need, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstance I am. I know both how to have a little and how to have a lot. In any and all circumstances, I've learned the secret of being content, whether well-fed or hungry, whether in abundance or need. I'm able to do all things through him who strengthens me." And basically, Paul, the writer, he's talking about, he's asking God for the strength to be content, and no matter what situation he's in, no matter whether he has a little or he has a lot, no matter if he's in a good situation or a bad situation. And the book of Philippians is actually also called the book of joy. And what's funny about that is that when Paul wrote this book, he was actually in prison. So he was actually in prison being persecuted for sharing the gospel, but yet it's still called the book of joy. And he says he will rejoice, and he will rejoice in the Lord in all circumstances, no matter his situation. And I think that's just a great outlook on any tough situation that we have, knowing that when your desire is to be so close to God, and you know that God's will is perfect, and that you're seeking after Christ's will in your life, no matter what that looks like in your life, you know at the end of the day you're going to be all right. So Paul, obviously, he wrote this while he was in prison, but he was still in the state of the most. He still had joy. He still was rejoicing in the Lord in a tough situation. And living in a world that so desperately tries to shape our thinking and to compromise our values and to create a spirit of discontent in our hearts, it's critical that we keep that spiritual grid and to keep God at the center of our lives. So when those storms come, when those trials come in life, you're able to use it to be able to, as moments, to be able to grow in faith and grow in endurance, and just use those moments to trust in God more, knowing that he has the perfect plan for your life, and everything's going to work out according to his plan. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So just keeping in mind that faith doesn't require understanding. It just requires the courage for us to continue to walk down an unknown path. And that's what faith is. And God called all of us to be courageous in our walk with him and in life. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And just as far as my plans for the future, I plan on continuing to compete. I want to compete in the 2016 Olympics. I'm going to be training for that. Somebody asked me about MMA, and the answer is absolutely not. You probably won't see me in the octagon. I think it's a great sport, but I think I've taken too many physics and chemistries and biology classes to make a living getting punched in the face. So that doesn't really seem attractive to me personally, but I would look at training some of those guys. So that would be cool, helping with their wrestling. But as far as other things, I'm actually having surgery March 29th, which is 5 days after the NCAA tournament. And it's kind of a coincidence because last year I had heart surgery 4 days after the NCAA tournament. So it's kind of a crazy situation. But then just going on from there, like I said, I'm excited about freestyle. I feel like I was born to be a freestyle wrestler. I'm going to finish up grad school. After this semester, I'll have 8 credit hours left, and then I'll have my master's degree in education policy. And then further down the road, when I'm done competing, I'll be looking to going into administration and education. So looking forward to that. And I'm also going to be doing a lot more public speaking and camps and technique camps and things like that. So You guys can get in contact with me by email or Facebook, Twitter, or whatever. The email is wrestlingwfaith@gmail.com, and then my Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, all that stuff is all linked. So you can get in contact with me with any one of those. And further down the road, long-term goals, I would really like to start a faith-based youth wrestling program. I feel like it's a great need for it, and working with the youth is a really big passion of mine. So I'm looking forward to that, looking into avenues to be able to make that happen. And it's a lot of people that I can thank, but if I was to thank everybody, this video would be 2 hours long. So it was one person in particular that I really wanted to thank, and this person has helped me so much just in life and in my walk with Christ. And it's my best friend, Eric Terrazas. We both came on campus together as true freshmen, and as a freshman on campus or any year, it's a lot that you can get into, a lot of distractions, a lot of different things you can get into on a college campus. And pretty much right away, he was choosing to live a different life, a life of purpose and a life of calling. And I always looked up to him and admired him for that. And I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him. So E.T., wherever you're at, I'm praying for you, and I'm excited about the things that God's doing in your life. And I'm sure I'll see you soon. We'll talk soon. So just to close on that, and just let you guys know, faith doesn't make things easy, but it makes things possible. And I'm thankful for the talent that God's given me to be able to wrestle and be able to compete. But the greatest victory of my life didn't come on a wrestling mat. It came when I received salvation and eternal life by grace through faith. So that was the greatest victory of my life. And I just want to tell you guys, stay encouraged, and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all of that. You can email me, contact me, wrestlingwfaith@gmail.com. So take care. God bless. Peace.